again, YouTube. We're doing a video log on this video. I don't know if you like the video logs as much as the other content that I've been trying to put on the videos. Of course, I'm not using my holder to hold my phone up right now. There's a reason for that. It's going to be about my car that I drive, the 1980 Malibu. Now, before you decide to click off the video or not watch the video, just hear me out. You know, there's an issue that has been hounding me for a little while, and you may have the same issue and not know it. I'm just saying, okay? Alright. About 2 weeks ago, well, let me go back. Sometime last year, I think right around the time when the new engine was put in the car, and we broke in the cam, and right after the cam was broken, then I heard a knocking and a pecking noise. Well, it turned out that about a month later, you know, or a couple months, it might have been a few months later, I don't remember. My time frame is from that time is a little blurry on me. So a little bit of time had went by, and I checked I looked at the car or the engine, and it turned out that I messed up a cam lobe. Had a bad lifter. Basically had a flat spot on the cam lobe, and the lifter was pretty much messed up. I mean, it literally had a hole in the bottom of it. Alright, now you go fast forward to this year and start off with all the issues I had at the beginning of the year, going till, you know, up until about a month or two ago. Okay, the issue is, you know, one of the issues I had, the car was backfiring, and I didn't know why. I mean, I couldn't find a reason for it. You know, it was kind of outside the realm of logic, as they would say, to me at that time. Well, I thought maybe there was, you know, I had a dirty air filter, and I thought, well, if I clean it, it may fix it, you know, so it doesn't backfire. Well, it seemed like it worked for a little while. I drove the car for at least 2 weeks straight. I didn't have any issues out of it whatsoever. It was doing really well. And one night, I was going home from work, and it backfired on me as I was letting off the gas. It was random, you know. I was just driving down the road doing about 45, and then I let off the gas, and it let off a big sound like a firecracker going off, you know, like an M80 firecracker. Really loud. Okay, so at that point, I decided to park my car, and at this point of making this video, my car has been sitting in the driveway for 2 weeks. Okay, now we'll get to the important part, just in case you want to know what I was talking about earlier when I said you might want to hang on before you switch off the video. Okay. I was looking at some car forums, and basically the topic was what does your engine do if you have a bad cam lobe? I think I phrased it something like that. And I found some car forums. The first one I found was, it was basically a Ford. Somebody was working on, I think it was a 427 Ford. And they talked about their cam lobe was messed up. Basically, they had a flat tappet cam. They decided they were going to upgrade to a roller cam, all that stuff like that. They said that the car was running good and just randomly would backfire for no reason. You know, it would just backfire like mine does. It just randomly backfired. Okay, so when they took the cam out, they found a very bad cam lobe in their, you know, when their cam lobes were messed up, and their lifter looked just like mine that he pulled out of it. I think I showed a picture of it in one of the video logs, what the cam lobe looked like. It had like a hole in the bottom of it, and the picture looked just like what happened to my lobe. My lifter. And this is a Ford, and mine's a Chevrolet, and the lifter looked pretty, you know, very similar. So flat tappets on any brand of car, you know, you're going to have the same situation if you have an older car. Okay. So I looked through another forum, and I was looking at the same thing. They said their cars randomly backfiring when they let off the gas. And it went through like 3 pages before they finally discovered that the guy that he's the one that started the post, on the forum saying it's just randomly backfiring when you let off the gas. You know, doing high, you get on it real hard and you let off of it and it just backfires. It'll backfire once. When in his situation, it was backfiring like 3 or 4 times. Well, somebody said, do you have a bad cam lobe? Well, the guy, he pulls the cam out, or he starts digging into the engine, and he comes back on the forum a day or two later saying that he had 6 bad cam lobes on his car. And that's the reason why, and every time he would let off the gas when he was driving it down the road or whatever he was doing, showing off, I guess, and it would backfire like 5 or 6 times. Well, he had 6 bad cam lobes and basically wiped out 6 lobes on his cam. But it still had horsepower. It would still get up and go. It would still haul, and it was, you know, driving normal. It just had a little ticking, and it was a little, you know, it still had horsepower. It could get on it and make it chirp in second gear when it shifted gears. But he had 6 bad cam lobes. Okay, now we go to another. Then I looked at another car forum where somebody was doing a resto mod. Well, they did something to their cam lobe somehow, and they've been driving it for months. And the guy in question, that he said he was having random backfires and he didn't know why. And again, somebody in the forum said, check your lobes and check your lifters. See, you know, what do they look like? Sure enough, you know, he had about, you know, half his cam lobes were messed up. I guess he didn't prime his engine before he built it or something. I guess the engine wasn't very old or something, or it didn't get broke in evenly or something. I don't know what happened. So he ended up upgrading to a roller cam and roller lifter. I'm like, all right. So I checked one more forum, and all these different forums are having the same issue with cam lobes being messed up. Well, as I happen to have, I have 1 bad cam lobe on my cam. So one more forum, I went to looking at another one, and it was a Chevrolet forum. Somebody was, I think it was for Chevelles or something like that. And somebody was, you know, as a Chevelle, but I don't remember what year model. It was like 60 something Chevelle, and they had a bad cam lobe. Didn't know it. I think they had like 5 bad cam lobes or something, and said it was backfiring when they drive down the road, letting off the gas. And it's the same story as the other forums. A different person, a different car. And they were having the same issues. And it's like, okay, what's going on? Well, turned out they had 5 bad cam lobes, and said that's the reason why they were getting backfires. Okay, so there's that. Now, we come up to mine. Okay, now, as I said, you know, if you got a bad cam lobe on your cam, and I have a flat spot on my cam lobe, it's like cylinder number 4 on the intake valve is what's bad on mine. You know, I got a flat spot on it. Now, I don't know what the new lifter looks like. It's probably messed up now. I don't know if it is or not, since I put a new lifter on top of a cam that had a flat spot on it, but maybe to band-aid it, but that was the only option I had because I didn't have the money to get a cam. So, at the time. Alright, so, speaking of money, I didn't know I had an option on my, going back to, needing money for the car and everything like that to do work to it. It turns out that if you have a 401k, depending on where you're working, you may actually have an option to withdraw, early withdrawal of some of your 401k money, as long as, like a loan, you take out a loan on yourself, like you're doing a bank loan, but you're borrowing money from your 401k, and you're paying it back over, between 1 year and 5 years, depending on how much money you're drawing out. And then you pay it back over time with interest, and you're paying it back to your 401k. So you're basically paying yourself back. Well, I didn't know you could do that with our 401k, and I don't know if everybody's 401k is like that. I don't know if it is. I mean, mine is, and I didn't know it till, I don't know, about a week and a half ago. and I realized that I could actually withdraw some money and borrow it from myself and then pay it back. Yeah, I drew out some money, being that my car needs to be worked on, and I didn't want to borrow the money or ask my mom if she wanted to let me borrow money from her. I'd rather not do that. She needs her money. I don't want to borrow any money or even go to the bank. So what I ended up doing, I looked at my 401k, and it's like I got a pretty good chunk in there already, and I need to borrow some money so I can get my car worked on, or should I say get some parts for it and fix the problem I got with my car. Alright, so once I borrowed the money, I'm not going to tell you how much I borrowed. It's not a small amount either. It's not a super large amount, but it's not small either. So I ended up calling after I got the money approved and it went into my bank account, and I called Summit Racing and I asked them that I needed a new cam, but they have I've seen cars that have a really nice, or should I say a really badass sounding car that has a mean lope to it. It sounds like a 383, but it sounds meaner than a 383 stroker, and it's got a hard-hitting lope to it, and it sounds really badass, that kind of thing. I don't know if you ever heard some of those kind of cars running like that. And they have these what they call thumper cams in their engine, or what they call mother thumper cams. It sounds like you're cussing when you're not, but that's what they call them, a mother thumper cam. It turns out that Comp Cam, I know that they have a bad reputation, but they do have I like their cams, their camshaft, but they have when I talked to Summit Racing, they brought up, the very first one they brought up was they have 3 different size cams that are thumper cams. Okay, the representative I was talking to at Summit Racing, the very first cam that popped up, he gives me a link to click on. He's texting me on my phone, and he's showing me a link to the biggest cam that they have for the thumper cams. The bigger one, the third one, and then he shows me a more milder cam, which is the first one. It's like the regular thumper cam, and then you have the medium, and then you have the big. Okay, so I'm interested in the bigger one, so I got, I clicked on the big, and I told him I was interested in that. We talked for a little bit, and I told him some things about the engine and stuff like that, and of course, we just, it kind of, after the conversation was over, after I think I was on my phone for like 40 minutes talking to this guy. I was texting him. So, to make a long story short, I guess it'll be a long story if I keep rambling, right? I went to Summit Racing's website, and I have the part number on my phone when I was on text messaging with the guy, and I looked it up on the website and brought up the cam that I wanted to get, and it shows you like suggested parts, and then there's a row also above that. It'll say required parts. So basically it takes the hard guesswork out of it, and it'll say this part is required when you're using this cam, or this part's required. They give you requirements, and you just pick out what you want out of the listing of parts that have to go with that cam. So there's like several parts, and I had to make me a long list. I had to write down part number after part number. There was a bunch of them that to be writing down and everything. So I made me a 3-page list of everything that I thought I was going to need just for engine parts. Okay, so it turns out that when I change the cam, I need I can't think of it now. One of the suggested parts, or should I say not suggested, but required parts that has got me confused, and I wonder if any of you can answer this question if you're still hanging in there and you're not falling asleep yet. Does anybody know, now this is a required part for the cam that I picked out, It's called a Comp Cam Thrust Bearing and Wear Plate 3100TB-1. If you have any idea where this part goes, I don't know where it goes. There's no instructions with it. There's no videos on it. And I'm only assuming that it probably goes behind the timing chain gear, you know, before you put it onto the cam. But yet it says it's a required part, but it doesn't tell me where it goes. So I'm assuming it probably goes right behind the, you know, it probably goes on the, you know, I mean, it's a little bit bigger. I mean, your cam lobe will actually go through it because the bushing is bigger than the cam. But yet it says it's required to be on there, but it doesn't show you where it goes. It doesn't tell you where it goes. It doesn't even give you any instructions with it. So I don't know anything about that. You know, I've always known, you know, you put the cam in and then you put your timing chain and your gears on it and you tighten up the 3 little bolts. But it also requires you to get like a locking plate too. So, and you have to use a cam button and everything and test fit your timing cover and all that stuff like that. But there's nothing that I can see, you know, where does this this thrust bearing go for the cam? Where does it go? Does it go behind the timing gear? Because I really don't know. So that's something new to me. You know, if it's required, then I'm going to have to call Summit Racing, I think, on Monday and find out where does this part go, because I don't know where it goes. I did buy the part, I just don't know where, you know, where on the engine does it go. I know it has to go with the cam, but what part? You know, you know, I guess it goes on the block somewhere in between the yeah. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. Sorry. But let's see. Then there was the required parts that it was also asking me to get with the cam button. So there's like 3 different sizes of cam buttons that go for the cam. So I had to buy all 3 of them because I didn't know what size I was going to need. One of them you can actually trim it down, as it's made out of nylon, I think. It's a cam button, but it's something you can actually grind it down if you need to make it smaller, that kind of thing, when you're test fitting your timing cover. If you're doing a roller cam upgrade to a flat tappet block, you have to have a cam button, because I was doing a lot of reading and researching and stuff like that. Even friends told me too, when you're changing to a roller cam from a flat tappet, basically your cam is going to slide forward and back in your engine block. Now, to keep it from moving like this, you have to put a cam button in front of it, right there where the timing gear and chain. You have to put it in that, and then you have to put this retaining locking plate on top of it, and then you got 3 bolts that you have to Loctite in and torque them down and stuff like that, right? Okay, there's that. And then you have your timing gears. Or should I say, it's I got a double row timing set for it, and it's the one it was only one listed, I think, for the required parts that you needed for your cam. I keep blocking the camera, don't I? And hang on. Anyway, then there was a thrust bearing, which I have no idea where does that go. And then it shows you have to replace. Now, I did talk to a tech from Summit Racing about do you have to change out your valve springs? Being that you're going to a bigger cam, do you have to change your valve springs out? And I was told, yes, you have to change your valve springs out. So there was a list of valve springs, and you had to get the what they call valve locks. Had to get those, and I had to get the valve spring retainers. All this to change a cam in your car, right? But that's what you got to do, right? I got the assembly lube. Now, they only showed 1 set of push rods for that cam that I ordered, or the cam that I got. Yes, I did get the cam, but I also ordered a bunch of parts too, so here lately. It was like Christmas every day for a week and a half, of parts coming in every other day, and boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff showing up at my doorstep. So, in case you want to know. But yeah, the push rods, you know, they show that these are the ones for the car, or for that that works with that cam. They recommend roller rockers, which I already have that covered. You know, I already have those. One of the tools they keep recommending when you're putting the cam in is that that handle. I know people like to use a screw. I mean, one of these bolts and stuff like that to hang on to. I mean, the handle don't cost that much. You know, it's cheap. You know, so I went ahead and bought one. You know, that's okay. I bought 3 quarts of break-in oil. I probably didn't need to do that, but I need something to soak the lifters in. But I'm hearing different stories about lifters from several different people and videos and things like that. Some people say you need to soak your roller lifters overnight for 24 hours. They say you need to do that. I've also heard that you don't need to soak your lifters, just leave them dry and stick them right on into the engine. I've also heard where people they put a solvent cleaner on it that removes that little film that they put on the lifters. They said it's not oil, it's a solvent or a rust preventative on it. They said just do rub them, clean them with mineral spirits, and then immediately dunk them in oil, and then stick them in your engine. So I've heard different stories of what you need to do with your lifters, but which way do you go with it? Oh, and then the instructions, they also say you don't wipe the solvent off of it, leave it on, and then they say take a what do they call it, one of those oiling cans that you put oil in, and then they want you to squirt oil into the holes in the side of the lifters to fill them up with oil. Doesn't soaking your lifters do the same thing? But they just want you to get the air out of the lifters and soak them up with oil. You know, fill them up with oil on each one of the lifters, and then dunk them in oil, and then set them in the engine. That kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? I mean, if you're in a big hurry and you want to get them in, you know, I guess that would be a faster way of doing it. Then you can do it that way. But I probably end up soaking my lifters for 24 hours in break-in oil before I put them in the engine. And then I bought another tool that's for the flywheel. So it's also recommended that you put a stall converter on it. It's showing that I needed, I forgot what the RPM range is on the cam. They were saying I need to get something that's at least 2,500 RPM stall or higher, or was it 2,600? I don't remember exactly the specs right now. But you know, on the cam, so I got like a 3,000 stall to put on it. It wasn't a cheap stall converter either, but it should be should be a good one. And then the stall converter, I found 3 different size bolts that are ARP studs to bolt in the stall converter. Well, the thing is, I don't know which size to use. Do I use the long ones or short ones? Well, I wasn't sure, so I went ahead and bought all 3 of them. And one of them is going to work on it. I don't know which one, but we'll find out when we get to that point. Okay, and then they recommended that I would buy some ARP Ultra Torque Fastener Assembly lubrication. I've never used that stuff before, so it's going to be interesting to try to use some of that. The stall converter I ordered, in case you want to know what kind of stall converter I got, it's a FTI Performance ESR Series Torque Converter ESR 3082, and it's on Summit Racing's website. So if you want to check it out, right now it's like $439, so it's not a cheap converter by all means. but they do have them, and I think it goes up to 3,000 RPM on the stall, so it's like 9.5-inch stall converter. So it is not light either. That thing's heavy. I picked it up out of the box. It weighs more than it feels. I mean, it's for something that is not that big. It's got a lot of weight to it, so it's pretty heavy. And you got to put a quart of transmission fluid in before you put it on the transmission, right? So it makes it even heavier. I also bought another tool because since I got to change valve springs on it, I didn't want to take the heads off. So I got a tool that I can actually mash down the springs. But they recommend that I get a what they call it, a hose, a spark plug hose. It goes into the spark plug hose, you know, where the hole is, to actually put compressed air into the cylinder, and it's supposed to allow you to fill up the cylinder, so it pushes your valves up so they don't fall into the combustion chamber. So when you compress the spring, the valves stay up, and then you can swap out your springs, and then you put your retainer on and everything, put the new spring on, and then compress it and put the locks on it, and then you're done and you move on to the next one. So we got that to do, and I don't look forward to any of that. Okay, then the lifters, I was going to ordered a set of CompCam lifters, high energy hydraulic roller lifters. It turns out that they were sold out of those, and they wasn't going to have them in for another 2 months. I didn't want to wait 2 more months because I was going to work on it next weekend. So I had to call Summit, and I talked to a tech on the phone, and I told him the situation, and I said, is there an equivalent, an alternative part that I can use that is still compatible with the cam, where it won't hurt the cam? So he did some searching, and he looked, and he said, yeah, we have a set of them. Or it's if I can find it, they call them the lifters that I got, that I swapped out. I told them I wanted to switch them out, and they were a little bit cheaper, but they're still really good, you know, lifters. And they said that this name, it's a Clay Smith Cam retrofit hydraulic lifter, roller lifters. They're from what I understand on these lifters, the name Clay Smith, they said that's probably one of the very first manufacturers that started making roller rockers years ago, back in the 80s. So isn't that interesting, little history there? And then the push rod for the push rod I needed for the fuel pump. Well, that push rod was going to be delayed by a month and a half. And like, I can't wait that long, you know. I need a push rod. Does it matter which one? I mean, they got several other ones listed, but they recommend a certain one. They said, well, the one they're showing listed, they said, how about a Moroso fuel pump push rod? And they gave me the part number on it and everything. It's like, okay, I'll get that one. So I swapped that out for the other ones that were delayed. And then I also got I'm also getting a fuel pump, a Holley mechanical fuel pump, so I can put AN fittings on it. I'm changing all my fuel lines, vacuum lines, and heater hoses and radiator hoses to flex line. Not flex line, I'm changing them out to braided nylon. And I got AN fittings, and some of them are going to be like red and black AN fittings on the ends, and some of them are going to be, I think some of them, like the heater core, I think some of those are going to be blue and black. And there's some other fittings for other parts of the engine, like the vacuum canister, probably going to be red and blue, or it might be red and black too. I don't know yet. So yeah, I'm upgrading all my fuel lines, my vacuum lines, and everything to braided nylon. So I'm going all out on that to dress it up even more. Then see, another part that I had to get, I went ahead and got a priming tool to prime the engine after, you know, where you attach it to your drill and you stick it through the hole where the distributor is supposed to go, and you turn your oil pump, and it, you know, shows and make sure your oil pressure is good. basically one of your close to your final steps. You know, when you're getting close to putting everything back together, and you want to check your oil pressure and make sure everything's okay. And then you check it again, I think a couple more times, and you're good. Then there's the cam locking plate. I got that. So also, and then trying to find what else did I get. Yeah, I got quite a bit stuff, you know. And I also had to get a harmonic balancer puller kit that also pulls a harmonic balancer off. It also installs it, and you can also use it to pull your steering wheel if you want to. So it's a multi-purpose tool. So I went ahead and got it. It wasn't cheap either, of course. And then I ordered, I already said this, it's a tool for doing you compress your valve springs without having to take your heads off. Basically, if you have a stud where your rocker arm, or say if you got roller rockers, and the little stud that they're mounted to, say you take your roller rocker off and you mount this tool, it just screws onto the stud. And it uses the stud as leverage, so when you pull the lever, it compresses the spring, allows you to get the keepers off, or the locks off of it, and then the retainer. And then you let the pressure off the spring, it takes the spring off, and then you just do everything in the reverse when you put the new springs on. So it's kind of cool. I've never used one of those before. So, and then also bought me a different water neck, because as I said, I was going to go AN fitting for the radiator hoses. I'm going to use AN fittings for that too, and there's a special kit. You can't get it at Summit, but they have, at the moment I can't think what they are. It's something new that I hadn't seen before, and I thought it was kind of cool, that you can actually put a -20 size AN fitting on your water neck, but you have to have a special water neck for it. And you have to have this kit would have a water neck that you would have to measure your radiator nipple, that you can put this thing on, put this fitting on it, and it turns it into an AN fitting, a -20. And then you get either some straights, or you get a straight or a 90 or a 45-degree angle fitting that'll go onto the hose. And then you you put it on the hose, and then you attach it to the radiator, to the water neck, and there you go, you know. And you have the flex line. Now, why am I calling it flex line? It's a nylon rubber hose. It's nylon braided, and it's you know, you have that kind of thing. And the same way with the lower hose too. So yeah, I'm going all out on it. So I'm upgrading to a roller lifter and roller cam set, and I'm also upgrading all my fuel lines, vacuum lines, things like that. And to give you a little bit of a peek at what I bought so far, my living room looks like a wreck right now because I got boxes sitting everywhere with car parts in it. So I'm gonna go around the living room a little bit and show you a little bit what I've got, just a little bit, okay? So hang in there. Okay, I'm not gonna take everything out of this box, but you know, I got a little bit of everything, a little different tools and stuff that I need for doing the job that I need to do. I got, you know, AN wrenches, and I'm not gonna show you everything that's in here, but I'm not taking it all out. I got 2 of these China jacks, and then I'll show you what the other 2 jack stands look like. Over here, yeah, this is where it gets, I can show you a little example. Okay, this is going to be for the heater core. You know, there's these kind of fittings for like the heater core, but I also have, you know, just in case, I don't know which size I need yet. So, I mean, there's these. There's blue and black. And then that's, I mean, most of this stuff that's sitting over here on this chair, it's like AN fittings out the ass. There's hoses in here. lots of AN fittings, different sizes, and this is just gaskets and stuff. I got extra gaskets and gasket material, and then I got some more gaskets back here behind it, some more there, that kind of thing. There's more fittings in here, that kind of thing. Can't remember what that was, but then there was like a kit, I think, for the heater core, the hose for that. I can't remember what size I got now, but I can look it up later. And it also came with its own fittings for the heater core, little different size. I'm not going to be able to use all the fittings, but I got stuff like this, and they're not small, so. But that came in a kit. Some of this came with it too, and then I got some of these. I wanted to get how do you put an AN fitting on a heater core? Well, they have these fake AN fittings. I don't really like these, but I don't know any other way to get an AN fitting style to be put on a heater core. So they said, well, use these fake ones. And so, but that's what color those are going to be. There's those, and most of this over here, I think all these little things are like, these are little fittings too, and I'll take a couple of them out of the bag and show you what they look like. Well, here's one of them. Okay, I had to look through a few bags to find this one. Okay, this is like a red and black fitting, which would look good. If you've seen my engine, and it's got red lettering on it with the engine block is black and everything. So I figured, red and black would look good on the hoses, that kind of thing. So some of them are going to be like this, and some of them are going to just be black, fittings, depending on which angles I got, because they didn't have all the angles I wanted. And I think this is a -6, I think, hose. In case you're wondering how much hose this is, I think this is, I think it's 10 feet, maybe 15 feet, or it could be 20. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up to find out, but that ain't all. I got extra hose in here. It's also a -6. That's all that's in there. It's a big coil, about 20 feet of it. Okay, now, here's the stall converter down here. We'll get to the other parts. Okay, this is that kit I was talking about for the radiator, and this is like one of those it's like one of those things, where it's a weldless. You don't have to weld these fittings on at all. They're just it basically puts AN fittings on your, it's like a -20 hose right here, really big hose. Got all these little, look at the size of the fittings on this thing, man. But the tape that you can wrap around the hose, so when you cut it doesn't fray out. And here's what one of those what they call one of those nipple weldless type fittings that goes on there and turns your radiator into where it has an AN fitting on it. There's some steps you have to do to it, and the instructions are on the back of that sheet right there. Tells you how to do it. There's even a video online that tells you, a guy where he's doing his GTO. He talks about how he does it, that kind of thing. So, and now all the good stuff for the engine. Now I also got a vacuum canister, and I already put an AN fitting on it, which I'm gonna have to get some of the parts to go with that. I ain't got them yet. There's that push rod right there. And then we got the push rods, got the timing chain gear set, and then got the cam. In case you want to know what the specs are on the cam, that way you can look them up for yourself. That way I don't have to say it. There's the cam number and everything. It's a thumper cam. Tells you all the specs and everything. You can pause the video right here so you can actually see everything that the cam is, and you can look up the number and see what you come up with. Here's the lifters. That box is heavy. I think these are the, not sure exactly. I think this is the, oh, those are retainer, the, I can't think of them right now. The things that go on top of the springs. There's the springs right there. Cam, I think it's the composite cam button, but I'm probably not going to use that. I don't know. I got the fuel pump. There's the water neck in there, and it already has an AN style thing on it right there, dash 20. Yeah, I got the brake-in oil and lube kind of thing, and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, the thing I was trying to figure out, this is that part I was trying to figure out. Where does this, oops, sorry. This is the part I'm trying to figure out. This is it's for a camshaft, but it's a thrust bearing for a small block. Where does this thing go on your engine? This is what it looks like. I did put it on the back of the timing gear. I took it out of the box and looked at the back of it. It looks like it goes there. From the looks of it, it looks like it goes on the back of there, but there's no way to hold it to the timing gear. So yeah. So if anybody knows any answer to this, where does this go? And yeah, just let me know. Can you? If you know the answer to that, let me know. But anyway, I also got, now I don't know if I'll need these, but it's better, as they say, what's the old saying? It's better to have them and not need them than to need them and not have them, right? So if I need new seal, or what do they call this? Valve seals. If I need any valve seals, I don't think I will, but if I do, I got them. And there's the little locks for the, that goes on top of the valves. So this is just, some of the stuff that came in. And then you got over here, you got another one of them jacks with the jack on. It's got the jack and the stand together. And then these two big ones. So that pretty much does it for this video log. It's a little long. And in case you see, I did get a bunch of stuff for the, I'm fixing to do a cam swap on my car. So here in about a week from the video, I'll probably release this video as soon as I get done making it. And if I got an idea, when I'm working on my car, would you want me to do a video of me changing the cam in it and everything and showing it? I'm planning on taking pictures of it as I go into the engine and I get deeper into the motor and everything. I'm going to show pictures of it on Facebook. So, but I don't know if I'm going to do a video because I probably won't be able to. So it'll take too much time to set it up and do things like that. But I will take pictures. And if you want to see a slideshow of when I'm taking the engine apart, taking some of it apart, I'm not pulling the engine out of the car. I'm not taking the oil pan off. They said you can actually take the timing cover off without removing the oil pan. So, and you can also put it back on without removing the oil pan. There is a way to do it. And I'm going to find out how, because I've never done it that way before. So, but as you can tell with all the stuff I've got, I got a cluster mess in here from all the parts that I bought with the money that I borrowed from my 401k. So, but I do plan on doing some more work to the car as I get the loan paid off. I'll take out another loan and I'll do some more work to the car. It'll probably be the interior. Actually, I need to replace my doors on my car, and then probably replace most of the interior trim that's messed up inside the car and make it look nicer, and new headliner and everything like that, make it look nice. And do some interior stuff like carpeting, things like that. Start fixing up the interior, the dash, things like that. And probably change out the steering column also. So there's a lot more work to go. And then I guess the final thing that I would do to the car would be to get body work and paint done to it. And am I going to sell the car when I get done with it? Nope. I've had people ask me before, am I going to sell the car? And I say, nope. So, don't ask. It ain't for sale. Okay? So, yeah. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe down below, hit the subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, hit the notification button. It lets you know when you hit that button, it lets you know when I post a brand new video. It will also let you know that you like this type of content, and it will recommend you to watch these, other types of videos that are similar to this one. So, did I forget anything? It's been a while since I made a video because, the model car stuff, right? Anyway, I thought I'd put this video out there, what's going on with the car, and I'm fixing to upgrade it big time. I can't wait, and I hope I don't mess anything up. I hope, because the last time I actually put a cam in an engine was back when I was in high school. I was 17 years old when I did that. Now, I was in auto mechanics when I was in my 11th and 12th grade year in high school. And I always made A's in that class. I did everything I was, told to do and showed how to do things. Rebuilt engines. I took engines apart, put engines back together when I was in auto mechanics, and got an A for it all the time. And every time I ever had to take an engine apart and put it back together, it didn't run. It wasn't a running engine, but you had to put it back together so everything turned because they would actually turn the engine to see if it rotated like it was supposed to. And everything always turned out great. Every time I did the engine, it always turned out really good. So everything turned out fine on everything that I've ever taken and that I've worked on in auto mechanics. So, but the last time I touched a cam, putting a cam inside an engine or putting anything in like any of these parts like springs and stuff was back when I was 17 years old. Was the last time I did that. I was a senior in high school. So, but that was the last time. Now I'm 50 years old and I'm fixing to do it again. So it's been a long time since I've done that kind of engine work. So I hope everything goes smooth. I'm nervous. Just wish me luck. I hope I hope the engine runs good when I'm done with it. I hope it sounds mean as hell, but we'll see. Now I will do a video on it when I get everything together, and I'll show you the aftermath of it. I'll show you some slides, like still pictures of it, and I can do a slideshow, and then I can do I might do something like that on the next video log on the car. I'll show video slides of what I've done to the car, where stuff that I've taken off of it. The same pictures I'll be posting on Facebook. So I'll do as I tear into the engine and show pictures of everything I take out of it, or where, the tear down and then reassembly and all that stuff like that. I'll show pictures of it. And then when it's all back together and it's running, then it'll be a video, and it'll resume from a slideshow to a video, and then it'll show, and then I'll talk about the car and what I did, slideshow kind of thing, and then we'll start the car and let you hear it and see what y'all think about it. So that'll be the next video log to look forward to, right? So if you hung into the video this long, I appreciate that. You're one of the many people that like to hang around to the very last part of the video, that hangs around to see what else I got to say in the video. So I don't know how many people like my video logs. If I talk about my car, I don't seem to have too much of an audience for cars, car videos. But hey, I'm a car guy, I own a car. I work on my own car. I know I don't show a lot about it, but I'm fixing to after I get through doing this upgrade on it. So it's a big upgrade. It's roller, going from a flat tappet cam to a roller cam with roller lifters. First time I've ever done that in my whole, I've never done it before. So I got some friends that are going to help me. So it's a lot of work as I got to do to it. I'm also putting new headers on it. I didn't mention that, did I? So there's a lot to do coming up next weekend. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. All right. See y'all later. Bye.